I'm Kevin, and this is Novel to You, where I read from my books so you can listen to them as an audiobook when you're jogging or commuting, whatever. We're on episode 13. I'm reading from Taemane, which means diamonds in Bantu. Episode 13, chapter 20. Here we go. Though Alex appreciated the work in the office, there was always a certain honesty that came with being down in the mine. The sweat of a hard physical day laboring in the mine created a bond amongst the men. He made brief visits twice a day during each of the shifts. He kept his own hard hat, and it was always much cleaner than the other miners, which gave them a sort of a heads up when he was coming. But Alex didn't look for trouble from the other men. He knew that if a man didn't pull his weight, he would soon be caught out by other means rather than just Alex's inspections. Working underground had that kind of honesty. He doubted the value of Nick's supposed wardens, though, who drifted everywhere or sometimes nowhere. As he made his way, Alex's helmet reflected the shine from the single strand of low-wattage bulbs that hung from the ceiling. Though the men searched for diamonds, it was these little glowing pearls of electricity that gave them comfort, like a mother's voice. It was the glowing heartbeat of their underground existence. The few miners who actually worked at the mine face on the drills were the only ones who wore specialized helmets with torches attached. Alex's large frame hunched as he walked down the trolley tracks of the dim tunnel. Several men greeted him informally with a slap of hands or a nod. He was still very much one of them. He looked for the wardens, but they were nowhere in sight. A cart was rolling toward him, pushed by a bobbing, pulsing hard hat that stared straight at the floor. Alex asked the young man pushing the heavily laden cart about the wardens. The sweating miner, without losing a stride, pointed to a corner. Alex gave the cart an additional shove and slapped a thanks on the young miner's back, then moved in the direction the puffing miner had indicated. Turning the corner, he found the three of them relaxing. Two sat on their haunches, and One Eye leaned against the wall. They jumped up when they saw him. "So, how are the wardens then?" They didn't answer. Their eyes darted like frightened geckos. Alex crossed to the nervous One Eye. "Why does your helmet have a torch? You don't work at the mine face." One Eye stuttered. I've got to inspect the work, make sure there's no stealing." Alex was unimpressed. "Where'd you go yesterday afternoon? Out the gate? It wasn't a Sunday, was it?" One Eye said nothing. He looked at his pals who stared blankly back at him. Alex could feel the void of panic in their minds as they searched for an answer. Alex was younger, and his physical presence much larger. One Eye shifted, intimidated by the grilling. Alex didn't move a fraction, his eyes boring into the gangly One Eye. "Where?" Get some supplies for skin problems down here." "Supplies? From the bush?" Some roots for mixing medicines, make some balms." "Oh, so you're a doctor now as well as a warden. If you go off like that again, you'll end up dead like your friends at the anthill." He saw One Eye's face drop. He glanced at the other two, who wilted. Alex turned away, confident his point had been made. He headed to the tip area to pick up the volume records for the afternoon. He came up behind a miner, laboring with a large cart full of soil. He was about to speak to him when he saw it was actually his cousin, Asaf. He slapped him hard on the back, startling the sweating body. Alex had always liked his bubbling cousin's personality. It was a bright lift in an otherwise grim, oppressive world. "Alex, what are you doing down here? You're too clean. You stick out like a virgin in a whorehouse. Bit like me, the virgin part." "Yeah, right, Asif, whatever. I just had to make sure you're going to be fit for the tournament. I don't want any excuses for our debut." "Ha! We'll murder him. Your size, my silky skills, we've already won, Alex." "Yeah, I'm sure. I'm going to the drop. I'll run this cart the rest of the way. Bit of training, eh?" Asif slapped Alex's back and gave the cart an additional push before moving back down into the mine. Alex stepped behind the cart, heaved, and pushed the cart at an ever-increasing speed as it trundled along the narrow tracks. Just as he got up to a good speed, a flash of silver caught his eye on the wall, and he dragged his feet, trying to break the momentum of the cart. It took several steps before the cart stopped. He locked the wheels, then turned and wandered back toward the flash. He searched the wall. He was sure he'd seen an object. When he turned back to go to the cart, he saw the flash again, reflected by the yellow glow of the bulb behind him. He stepped over to the hard, rocky soil and picked at the object with his fingers. 2 batteries had been stuck in a crevice. They were batteries from the helmets used at the mine face. Dead, probably. This kind of carelessness he found particularly annoying. He put them in his pocket. He would drop them off in the repair shop to recharge. He leaned into the waiting cart and thrust it with his legs and lower back. Getting the initial movement was a power struggle. Man and uncompromising mass groaned in a slow dance of obstinacy. Once it was rolling, his legs could then accelerate and get the steel cart up to a ferocious speed. His bright yellow hard hat bobbed behind the handle as he pumped with his legs. Several men cheered as he roared toward the tip zone. Alex stepped out of the elevator at the top with his clipboard in hand. On the clipboard were the tip records for the previous shift, indicating the volumes transported during the shift. He would enter them after picking up the slurry records. Coming towards him, he met another of Nick's dubious wardens. "Why are you up here? Thought you were some kind of warden." The man searched for an answer. I am, but I also look after the safety equipment." Alex remembered the batteries in his pocket. "Well, I found these in the mine, so you better check all the helmets for new batteries. And we don't need garbage being tossed away down there." Yeah, right. Alex, sure, thanks." He slinked off toward the elevator, having put the batteries in his trouser pocket. Alex watched the nervousness in the warden's stride. As he turned to go across to the slurry area, it struck him strange that the warden didn't put the batteries on to charge right away. The safety hut was only 20 yards away. He shook his head and crossed toward the slurry area to pick up the other records. He could never trust any of Nick's crew. They were up to something. He was sure of it. Chapter 21. The workers' compound population had doubled with the influx of family members. It was an annual event. The Austinstadt five-a-side football tournament had become, over the years, a focus for many of the workers. Originally started by the old man in memory of Beth, who was a Leeds United fan, the competition and prizes on offer made it a serious challenge for the men. There was a festival atmosphere with the aroma of barbecues and beer penetrating the excitement. Kate, knowing the importance that her father always placed on the event, pushed to make sure it went ahead this year and that it was as big a day as ever. Claire had been against it, believing it to be a waste of money. But Kate insisted, as a legacy to their father, they had to continue. They had discussed it over a rare drink together on the veranda, and when Mary pointed out that before Katie came along, Claire was actually a pretty good player, Claire seemed to relax. Any advantage over Kate greased the wheels of Claire's pride. Mary wound Kate up by saying that she was always a better runner, but it was Claire who had all the ball skills. When Mary said their father would often kick a ball around before the games to show off Claire's skills, it played straight into Claire's vanity. More importantly, it allowed a lapse in the constant guard of aggression that enveloped Claire. For a few fleeting moments, there was a glimmer of a caring between the two sisters, a camaraderie that had long since vanished. It made Kate and Mary wonder if there was a melt happening to the icy freeze in Claire's personality, perhaps a result of a little male attention. Some additional womanly ribbing released an unknown blush to the dragon's pale skin. Nick's arrival on the veranda had cooled the moment, but not before Claire finally relented to the tournament. The mention of the tournament held no interest for Nick in the least, and that suited Kate and Mary just fine. Alex and Kate were late arrivals after church and made their way down the dirt road from the big house toward the workers' compound. Alex still wore his Sunday suit, and Kate was wearing a colorful sundress. They walked hand in hand. As they approached the compound, which was engulfed in music and sausage smoke, Asif saw them and dashed out to meet them. Alex, unsure of being seen holding Kate's hand and not wanting to embarrass her, released her hand. She snatched his back. Alex squeezed her hand in an unspoken recognition and stared ahead as Asif continued his run toward them. Alex thought he had better warn Kate of any upcoming situations. I told Jamina about our secret when we delivered the beer and sausages. She laughed at me and said everyone knew about us. In fact, I got a grilling from some of the other women, too. I barely escaped. They know a lot about you, Kate. He looked at her. They will have a lot of questions, so you better be ready. What? I have to lie for you, too? She smiled back, but refused to say any more. Kate was eager to brag about her man. Asif arrived poppy-eyed with excitement. Alex, come on. Oh, hello, Miss Ostenstadt. We're in the third game. Asif, if you call me that again, you won't make the third game. It's Kate. Sorry, Miss Kate. Please make him hurry up. We're going to win this. I don't know, Asif. Every year it gets tougher and tougher. I think people work here just to play this game. Some people, you mean me, won't be a problem. They've never seen us play together, Alex. I've never seen us play together, Alex blurted out. Go on, you two. Get out of here. Kate slapped Alex's shoulder. And no sulking if you lose, Alex. Asif turned back to Kate as he dragged Alex along. No chance of that. Mary and Jamina have a spot for you over on the far side, Kate. Kate watched the men go, still boys. They raced off with a childhood abandon. She enjoyed every aspect of her man. She felt a flush of contentment. A warm honeyed drink of satisfaction flowed through her. Hey, get some shorts for Alex. He just got here from church. We've got God on our side. Asif was way over the top. Kate heard someone yell back that Alex was praying for a win. So much excitement. It was mad. The men were all dashing about, jostling each other and laughing. It was hard to tell who were the children. She had forgotten how much she, her father, and even Claire enjoyed this day. It would have been nice if Claire had joined them. Kate smiled at the familiar surroundings of the compound. She and Alex spent so many hours down here as children. It was too long since she had been down here, but then it was mostly men, and being a young woman, it wasn't really appropriate. The buildings were whitewashed and clean. The men had prepared the compound for the match and for their visiting families. The first game was already underway, and though the pitch was just dirt, the level of football was very high. Everyone played barefoot, and it was quite simply a game of shirts and skins. The crowd was very good-hearted and extremely vocal. Everyone, of course, was critical of the referee. Father Stanley was in charge of the scorekeeping and had a small table set up with sheets of paper and a big bulletin board taken from the office. How Father Stanley got there so soon after service, she had no idea. He was caught up in the madness as well. Though meant to be a neutral scorekeeper, he was just as fast to hurl his own brickbats and occasional bouquet at anything he thought was a foul. Mary saw Kate approach and stood up, waving her over. Kate walked around the pitch, followed by a posse of little ones who held her hand and pulled her along. She was handed a sausage somewhere on the way and bustled down toward Jemina and Mary. Many of the wives and children smiled and greeted her. It was like coming home. Her father would have been so proud. Her courtship with Alex had crossed all the boundaries, except the importance of this game. Alex had forgotten about her completely, now that the competition had started. Mary tapped Kate's arm. "These men and this silly game, some of them think it's life or death." Jemina offered a lemonade to Kate and added, "Asif has actually been practicing. He says he wants children soon, so he can teach them his skills." "Ha!" "I know, they're just hopeless," Kate said. "Alex was singing too fast in church. Father Stanley kept glaring at him. Then he pulled me all the way here." Mary pointed a meaty arm at the frantic body of Father Stanley. "Yeah, well, our good man of God shot out of church like the devil was on his backside." Mary laughed. Jemina touched her friend's arm. Some thought you might not hold it with your father passing, Kate." "Oh, I don't know, Jem. It's been 2 months. Truth be told, he loved this day and would never have forgiven us had we cancelled." Mary leaned over. "Well, he may have loved it, but his refereeing skills were a load of crap. They say Father Stanley will referee the final, for safety's sake." The 3 men laughed as Alex and Asif took to the field. Once the game started, the women became glued to it, and Kate and Jemina soon became abusive of the ref and even of their own men. They were totally caught up, and only Mary stayed calm and seated. Asif and Alex were on the skins team, and the other team were shirts. Alex's muscular frame was huge compared to the other men, but it was Asif who stole the show with some sublime tricks. Alex, of course, committed numerous fouls and complained to the referee after each. In the end, Asif nutmegged a defender and did a quick 1-2 with the marauding Alex, which may have been accidental, but he got the ball from Alex and he scored. His celebration dance was a bizarre, stork-like prance, causing Jemina to hang her head in mock shame. After the second win, Asif's team was set to progress through the group stages to the final. Without any shade in the pervasive excitement of the game, Mary began to wilt in the heat. Kate suggested they go home for a while, and Jemina could send one of the children up to call her down to watch the final. They left the compound arm in arm and trudged up the long, gentle hill. The width of Mary seemed to dwarf Kate. Kate was so petite that she appeared as a virtual appendage to Mary, a butterfly on a sunflower. Alex jogged up behind them, and Asif called from the compound. "How long are you going to be, Alex?" "Oh, just half an hour," Alex responded. "Well, you better hurry. We can't be without our dirtiest player." "I'm not a hacker," Kate called over her shoulder. "Oh, yes, he is." Asif appreciated the support. "You see? Thanks, Kate." Alex called back one last time. "I'll be there, don't you worry." Mary spoke, loud enough for Alex to hear. "Katie, be patient. You know better than anyone that Alex could never stand to lose. Now you two, you don't gang up on me." Kate enjoyed walking with Alex and Mary, though they were so much like her family. Alex was still bubbling with the excitement of the game and couldn't stop reenacting moments, which Mary just laughed off. The threesome was in their own world as they approached the big house. Alex stopped the 2 men and kissed Kate on the cheek to say goodbye. "Don't drink too much. I thought we could celebrate later. All right, Alex?" "My football skills?" "No, stupid. My studies being finished." "Oh, yeah, of course." Mary scolded Alex. "You men in that stupid game, it's all you." "Love you too, Mom. See you later." Alex jogged down to the mine. Kate stopped him. Where are you going, Alex?" "The field's that way." She pointed to her right. Alex glanced at the house and stepped back at them. I need to check the storage house while everyone is at the party." The 2 women nodded their heads and turned away. Alex ran to the repair shop. Like all the mine buildings, it was a simple clapboard construction on shallow foundations. Though the building was aging, it showed only a small amount of wear. Through the years, as the mine expanded, Old Man Ostenstadt always maintained the same high standards of construction and maintenance. It was this thorough commitment to doing quality work that forged the long-term success of the mine. However, theft, rare though it was a sense of criminality beyond understanding. Alex jogged a short distance from the women and soon arrived at the storage shed. He glanced around, saw no one, and then lifted the latch on the wooden door. He slipped through and closed it behind him. He wouldn't be long. He knew exactly what he was looking for. Inside were 2 workbenches and all manner of tools used by the carpenters for shoring and repairing the mine. It was a constant hub of activity during the day, with numerous comings and goings by many workers. Because there was nothing valuable kept inside, it was the one place that was never scrutinized. Neatly aligned on a rack, Alex saw the dozen driller hard hats with special torches in their design. They were always kept here to recharge the batteries for the miners that used them at the mine face. He took one off the pile and opened the battery compartment. There were batteries inside. He checked 4 more helmets. All the helmets had batteries. The next one seemed lighter. He removed the end cap and found the cavity empty. He took it to the workbench. He rummaged for a paint tin, popped the lid, and placed a dab of white paint on the underside of the helmet, then replaced it on the pile with all the other helmets. He checked 3 more helmets before the door behind him creaked open. It was George, the rickety old driver, a dual-type mine fixture. He was one of the first men Carl Ostenstadt hired and was a relic of the mine and a virtual uncle to Alex. If the old man had any spark in his bones, he would have jumped at the surprise of seeing Alex. As it was, he waved a tired palm at the young man. "'Lo, Alex." "George, you stuck on guard duty during the football tournament?" "I think they're afraid to let me play. They know my reputation. They're afraid I'll show them up." Alex laughed at the old boy as he tried to shuffle his feet, showing his aging football prowess. He walked over and tugged the wispy gray beard. "I know, George. There's a lion sleeping under this silver mane." That's true. What are you doing here, Alex?" "One of the helmets didn't have batteries the other day. I was just checking if it was fixed." He ushered the old boy to the door. "You'd have to be mighty stupid to work at the rock face without a proper light," George chuckled to himself as he opened the door. One of the wardens stumbled through as the door was pulled back. He had obviously been straining to hear their conversation. "Why are you here?" "Just, seeing, where you got to, Alex. Everyone is looking for you at the game. You're up next." "Oh, yeah. Good. We can walk back together." "See you later, George. Anyone gets injured, I'll put your name forward as a sub." George just waved him off and turned to walk back to the mine area. We'll stop there. Thanks for joining me. We're reading from Taemane. That's the end of episode 13. See you in the next one.